In this video, I'll share 3 practical ways you can leverage Google's Notebook LM to enhance your small business operations. Here's what we'll cover. I'll demonstrate how to upload a hefty or a complex typed document into Notebook LM and use follow-up questions to quickly extract critical details. And secondly, we'll explore how to kickstart researching using Perplexity AI to generate that initial research and resources. And then we'll go through organizing and summarizing the resources with Notebook LM. And thirdly, we'll look at Notebook LM's audio feature. This is probably my favorite, and I'm going to use an example of critiquing my own website. Purpose is we often see our own website, don't we, through our own, fair to say, biased. However, have we ever thought about how our audience may perceive the site? And podcast will be prompted to review the website as our audience. By the end of this video, you'll have actionable insights on how you can use Notebook LM to streamline your operations in your business. So before we dive in, let's just have a look at the versions of Notebook LM. On the left-hand side, we have the free version, and on the right-hand side, we have the recently added, certainly at the time of recording, the Plus version. This comes with the Google Gemini, which is a subscription model. Not going to go too much into that now, but if I could quickly show you, or more importantly, on the free version, certainly to get started, certainly for testing, you will find that what we're going to demonstrate to you today is available through the free version. So this is the landing page for Notebook LM. And yes, I have got the Plus version, but as I've just mentioned, what I'm about to show you, you will also equally be able to do in the free version. You get there by simply just searching for notebooklm.google.com. First thing we want to do is create new, and then we go to the notebook dashboard. Don't worry about it at the moment. I know there's a lot on there, but the first thing that we want to do is add source. So there's different ways that we can add sources. We can drag and drop, or we can click on there to choose a file that's actually saved on our computer. Again, this is a Google model, so naturally it's got Google Docs integrated, and that's the one I'm going to show you in a second. You'll also see through the other demonstrations on how you can link websites, YouTube, or if we've copied from a document, we can also simply paste that in. Documents that are supported is you've got PDF, text documents, markdown documents, and you've got audio such as MP3. So I'm going to use Google Docs for this example, and I'm going to choose this one here. I'll insert that, and that's how quickly you can insert a document. This document, just purely for this example, is a cybersecurity reseller agreement for reselling cybersecurity awareness courses. It's something that we do as a service within our business. So this could be me, quite simply. Somebody's approached us. We're maybe interested, but I want to do that due diligence, don't I? I want to check if there's anything I need to be looking out for in the agreement. But I'm sure you'll agree, like me, that there's nothing worse than I can think of than actually reading through pages and pages of an agreement. So this is a fantastic tool that can actually help us understand what is in the agreement, and I'll demonstrate by doing some follow-up questions as we go along. One disclaimer I do want to put in, because I can probably hear the shout-outs now, and that is, yes, for me, this is just to help me understand at my level, at layman terms, the kind of things that I might want to kind of look out for. If there's any red flags in there, if there's anything I'm not sure, of course, I would go to, and I will highly recommend you would go to, a professional in this area. So, moving on. I've uploaded the agreement, as you've seen. Straight away, it's actually come up with a summary of what's actually in this agreement. And what I want to do now is just ask a question within this agreement. And I'm going to do 2 or 3 examples. I haven't tested this, so you've seen it's live as I am. So let me put the first question in. So the first question I might want to ask, what are the terms for terminations and price changes? Of course, I want to protect myself. I want to see how long I'm maybe stuck in there for, and I want to see how often they can maybe change prices. So we put the prompt in there, and let's search. And you can see it's come up here with an answer. trying to look through there to see if there's anything in there. Now that's maybe a bit of a red flag already. It's telling me there that it doesn't mention fees, compensation. One other thing that you will see, these numbers here are citations where it's actually found that particular part of the information within this agreement. So we're not going out searching the web, we're just staying with this and within this agreement, and that's the bit I like about it. Let's ask it another question. So I've asked the question, what liabilities and responsibilities do I incur as a reseller? So let's just scroll up a bit so we can see what it comes back with. So it's telling me that I undertake several liabilities, and what I can do now is just read through those and find out which, whether I'm happy with those. Again, I've got the citations there, so I can actually see in which point in that agreement it's actually bringing that information from. And let's see if we can put a direct question in, see if we get a simple answer on this one. Can I white label or customize the training materials? So this could be important because for me as a reseller, I don't want the vendors' logos and that all over it. I want my own on, of course I do. So we can see quite quickly, and this is what I was hoping for, that I have a direct answer in bold. I'm not permitted to private label or brand the training material. I am allowed to use my logo, but it have to be alongside that. So for me, again, could be another red flag, and that could help me make a quick decision whether I want to work with this vendor or not. What I also can do is save to note. So if this is a question, so for example, that last one is definitely one I want to remember. So I'll just save that to note, and I've got a little area down here where it's going to start attaching those notes for me. So that's example number one. There is loads of other areas, as I know you'll have spotted, and you might have questions on or wondering what those are for. I'm hopefully going to cover most of these areas in the other two examples that I've got. So let's move on to the second example. The second use case I want to show you is research. I'm going to introduce you to another tool if you're not familiar with it, and that is Perplexity AI. I want to use this tool initially to get us started, and this will also allow me to demonstrate other great features that we do have with the Google LM tool. So let's start with Perplexity to do this quick research. I have done a video previously on why we would use a tool like Perplexity as opposed to Google search, and you'll see why. If you haven't seen that video, you'll see why I'm recommending this method just for doing that research. So let's get a question in there. And the question I want to ask is, what are the 3 proven tactics to boost my lead generation quickly? Please include examples and a step-by-step guidance. I'm choosing this as a topic because it's one I hear quite a lot in networking groups. It's a question that comes up quite a lot. I think as a small business, we'd all love to have more leads. I thought this would be a really good one to use because we might learn 1 or 2 things as we go along. And just to put the record straight, I haven't actually tested this, so you're seeing it live for the first time as I do it. I'm going to do the initial search here, and then what you'll see where we'll take the information that this produces and how we can improve that information by inserting it into Google LM. So what this is doing, just to give a bit of a heads up on how Perplexity deals with our questions, it's now scanning the web, just like we would if we were doing it with Google. The difference is, so far it is with 32 sources, so let's take those as 32 pages to keep it simple. The time it's done scanned all those pages, it's now finished, would have taken us how long? So this is the power of using a tool like Perplexity for doing certainly what I would call quick research. So it's saying here are the 3 high impact lead generation tactics you can quickly implement. You may also see it referring to areas of my own business, and the reason for is that I can give it custom instructions of the type of business that I am, what kind of thing I'm looking for, my tone of voice. So it's kind of been pre-trained on how I want my answer. So what Perplexity has done, it's given us answers here. We could ask more questions off the back of this. What I'm also interested is in the sources. So if I click on the sources here, these are the 33 sources it's taken it from. Also a good way that you can see if these are actually the sources that you trust. So if there's one in there that you didn't trust, you could simply remove it. We can just click on there and remove the source. So what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to copy it. So we get the opportunity to copy that. I could export that into its document. I could share it as a shareable link with somebody, or I could ask it to rewrite. But I'm going to copy it, and let's jump back over to Google LM. So let's create a new notebook. Didn't say it in the previous example, but here we can rename it. So let's just call this lead generation. And because I've copied the source this time, I just go to copy text, and I can just paste that text into there. What I'll do, just to tidy this up a little bit, because I don't want these in here, let me just remove those for now. So again, initially off that first part of the text, we've got a summary of what that's for. One thing that you can do in the free version of Notebook LM is that you can add 50 sources. Yes, 50 sources. That's a huge amount of sources that you can put in there. The next bit I want to do is get some of the sources itself. So Perplexity has done a great job for us by scanning all these 33 sources and coming back with what it believes in a form of answer that I'm looking for. But what I can also do, I could actually choose and paste in this resource. I can just right click on there. I can copy the link. And if we jump back into Notebook LM, add the source, click on the website link, and that's that one there. We can insert that. And I'll just do this a couple of more times. I've put in several additional resources, which is the web page that information came from. So we've got our original pasted text, and then we've got the additional. And every time we've added that information there, the sources has updated itself. Now here's the power of Notebook LM. So let's have a look now. We've got some additional information in there. Let's actually find out what else we can do with Notebook LM. What we were doing here, we're trying to learn how we can generate more leads. So we asked it that initial question about the proven tactics, and then we've got the sources that it came from. So what we might want to look at is frequently asked questions. So this has created a new note. Let's click on that note. We can see there's the questions in bold, and it's got a comprehensive answer underneath. Fantastic if it's an area that you're not familiar with, because these will be questions, certainly for me, that I probably wouldn't have thought of asking. So I don't even have to go on there and think of an answer, think of a question even to ask. I've actually got them here. If we go back to the studio, that stays in there. That's now its own note. So let's think about if we are using this topic that we've got in here, this resource for studying. We've just seen the FAQs. What we've also got is a study guide, and let me show you what that will produce. So here's our study guide. It's even come up with a title, and the first thing it's doing is giving us a quiz. So we've got some short answer questions. What is the fundamental purpose of lead generations, and why is it crucial for business growth? So you can imagine if this was something that you were really studying. What are the 4 L's of lead generation strategy? I have no idea, by the way, but again, probably another great question if you were studying. So again, we've got the answers here. So we had 10 questions there. There's the 10 answers. It's even doing in questions in essay form. So again, another good way to go a bit more in depth on the subject. We're getting some glossary of key terms. A/B testing, B2B, B2C. See if there's any in there that I'm not familiar with, but there's loads in there, isn't there? I thought that was part of a diet, but there we go, top of the funnel. So that's another good example of what we get from Notebook LM. We have a briefing doc. Let me show you what that looks like. So what this is doing is summarizing the key themes and ideas from the provided sources and lead generation strategies. So again, quite a bit of detail in there. And I'm sure if this was something that you were studying, and I think I may come back to this a little bit later in my own time, but again, we can see the key theme and ideas that it's producing. Just looking at things like key quotes, and finishing off with recommendation. So again, I would imagine if that was something that would be hugely powerful. Not sure on this example, but let's have a look at the timeline. Again, it's another great feature. So yeah, actually maybe is a good one. So on this particular topic, it's explaining pre-2020 traditional lead generation relies on networking, cold calling and basic websites. So we can probably see the shift and the changes happened as we've gone through the years. And we've even got some, calls it cast of characters. So we've got some probably leading people in the industry. So again, another reason why I do like the timeline feature. So that's the second use case. Let's now jump on to use case number 3. Okay, so the third demonstration I want to show you for Notebook LM is my own website. Again, this is not to go into great detail. It's more how and more importantly, why I would want to do this. So let's get started and I'll explain as I do it why I may want to do this. So we add the source like we did earlier. I come to the website. We put the website in and let it go off and do its magic. So again, it's quickly summarized page and the link that I've given it. And what I want to do is add additional pages there just to make sure that it's going to cover the main pages for the purpose of the review. So let me add those pages. The purpose of this was to review a website. I'm going to be the guinea pig. I've chosen my own website. And why am I wanting to do that? Or why am I wanting to review a website? So I've chosen mine. It could be a competitor's. And the reason why I've chosen this example is because I want to demonstrate the audio overview feature of Notebook LM. This for me, when I first seen this, blew my mind. What this is a podcast dial. We've got a male and a female who will, via an instruction, will start talking about the topic in question. When I tried this on my first site a while ago, I learned things about my site, what was being perceived by my customers. What I thought they were seeing, they weren't, because I was only seeing it through the biased way that I was seeing it. So I learned a lot from that, because we don't get necessarily customers' feedback on our website, do we? We can ask people within website developers in the industry, and we can ask them to do it for us. Again, I think they will see it again differently from what our audience, who we are actually aiming this website to be for. And at the end of the day, it's important what they perceive, certainly more important what they perceive than what we do. Anyhow, I'm sure you get where I'm going. So let me put this in action. So the first thing we're going to do is come over to the audio overview of the studio. I'm not going to hit generate straight away because I want to customize and give it a prompt to get what I want out of it. And that is for them to critique the website. So if I click on customize, so I'm just going to put this prompt in here, generate an audio discussion where two first-time visitors roleplay exploring the Cash4 website as skeptical but curious customers have them debate. So our prompt's in, let's generate. Okay, so we can see it now, it's generating the conversation. It says this may take a few minutes. It will be a few minutes. I've seen it take 5 or 10 minutes, so no need to stick around. So that's the podcast created. Took about 4 minutes-ish. And you can see there it's produced, just shy of 14 minutes worth of podcast, which, is quite amazing stuff. And as I say, if you've not seen this, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, and if like me, blown away. What I've done is I've skipped to 49 seconds because the first bit is just talking generally about IT support, and I wanted to get to a point where it starts critiquing the website. So again, I haven't done this for a while. I haven't listened to really the bit I'm going to demonstrate. So finger crossed they're going to be kind to me. But again, the whole purpose of this is just to understand what they think as customers about the website. So here goes.
We're in a bit of a bind, and then we stumble across the Cash4 website. What are our first impressions?
Well, I have to say, it looks pretty good. The design is clean and modern. It's easy to navigate. It doesn't feel like they're trying to bamboozle you with jargon and tech speak.
Yeah, it feels very approachable, right? Like they're speaking our language.
Yeah, it's definitely not one of those websites that makes your eyes glaze over.
Exactly. And I like that they have that call to action right there on the homepage. Book a discovery call.
Straight to the point, no messing about. I like that.
Yeah, and it suggests that they're, willing to have a conversation and tailor their services to our individual needs.
Yeah, and that's important, isn't it? You don't want to feel like you're being shoehorned into some one-size-fits-all package.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of tailoring their services, they really emphasize that local family-run business angle.
Yeah, serving Cumbria and the surrounding areas. They even mentioned that they're based in Carlisle and that you can drop off a faulty machine.
Okay, I'll pause it there. I was getting too carried away there. I could have probably listened on, but I don't think that you'll probably want to listen on for the next 13 minutes or so. I will listen to that later with bated breath. Okay, I hope that kind of really gives you, an insight of how powerful this particular feature, the audio overview, is. And I'm sure your probably mind's already racing like mine does for, other different ways that this can be done. And what I'm actually going to do is as well, I'm going to do another video just purely on this feature, so I can expand a bit more. There's even, believe it or not, I'm not going to do it this time round, but there's even a interactive mode where I can interrupt and ask a question that I want to ask. So again, could be a good two-way interactive, where if it's a subject that you're trying to learn about, that you could just ask away, maybe a bit like having a teacher there to ask the question. So another level that you can take it to, but that will be for another video. Okay, so there we have it. 3 use cases that you can use Google Notebook LM. Interested to see what you think. For me, still blown away in terms of some of the powerful features this can do, and we've only used 3 examples. Like I said earlier, I'm sure you've got hundreds of ideas that you could throw this in. I'll be interested to hear what those are, so please leave a comment below. So if you are a small business owner like me and you're just looking at ways of simplifying your workload or your operations, I would highly recommend to give Google Notebook LM a try. It has been a game changer for me, and I'm sure it will be for you too. So if you've got to here, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've got value from that. If you're interested in more videos like this, then why not watch this one? Again, all my videos are for small businesses. I will always try and do use cases, thinking about what a small business may need. I'll see you on the next one.